On this episode of the 5P podcast, I'm your host, Michael J. Penney. I'm joined by Mr. Lenwood Long Sr. of BV&L Associates.com. He is the founder of BV&L Associates. You can check him out at BV&L Associates.com. Mr. Lenwood Long Sr. is a military veteran. He was in Vietnam. He has an amazing backstory transitioning out into the civilian world, becoming involved as a business leader, as an entrepreneur, and especially helping folks secure financing throughout business. He is a wealth of knowledge. He has worked in the non-for-profit sector for years in order to help organizations stand up and truly deliver on their impact model. So I highly invite you to check out Lenwood Long Sr. at BVLAssociates.com. I am truly honored to have you, sir, on the 5P podcast, and welcome.
Wow, what an introduction, Michael. It's a joy to be a part of this podcast. I've always been a fan of you and the work you've done. I remember the days back when you were so effective in doing presentations at Bunker Lab, and you still haven't missed a beat. And so glad to be a part of this. As you stated, I am Lenwood Long with a long military history. Not only did I serve in the U.S. Army, 173rd Airborne Brigade. We're airborne all the way. That's used to say that. I don't say that now, but that shows how old school I am. But what many people don't realize that after going to undergraduate and graduate with the GI Bill, I served 23 years in the North Carolina National Guard. And serving there was a pleasure and an honor to serve my state. So I have a sort of dual track of serving not only the country, but state, for which I'm proud. And also, credit the Army, the military, my military service for affording me an education that otherwise I probably would not have been able to do. Undergraduate, had been out of education for 6 years when I went back to college, right? And the encouragement in GI Bill enabled me to do that. And then from there, a master's program at Georgia State University. And because I finished the St. Aug early, I was able to use some of my GI Bill to complete my master's. So I am so thrilled about that. You mentioned work, and I think that's been amazing for me. It's amazing, the journey. And I use one word, and a lot of time I would take one word to use it to sort of reflect my feeling and statement, and that one word is blessed. I was blessed to work in state government, beginning with the governor's office as an area of minority affairs. I worked there. And then also worked, and many folks didn't know, with the Rural Economic Development Center, where I worked 6 years in this infant state. In fact, was the third employee of the Rural Economic Development Center. So that's near my heart, right? All the good work they do. And then went on there and served as Chief of Staff for Congresswoman Eva Clayton in Washington, D.C. For a couple of years, and then came back home and went into ministry. One of the reasons I left D.C. was that I had a greater calling to serve in a different kind of way. And from that, I became bivocational and served as a pastor for 23 years. So you take 23 years in the North Carolina National Guard and 23 years as a senior pastor in a medium-sized church. So again, the word was blessed. But and so I began to do that, and then always had a passion for help. I think my ministry always been around helping others. And then I got into this entrepreneurship space back in 2008. I had this vision working with then the North Carolina Minority Support Center, which mission was to serve primarily African-American owned CDFI credit unions. And then we transitioned to this vision and passion was I noticed the gap in certain loan size for small businesses, and was again blessed to have started the support center with a revolving loan fund, which is known today as Carolina Small Business Development Fund, where I serve what I consider some of the best years of my life, and helping people to grow their business, to accessing capital, as well as providing technical assistance. And proud of the work we've done with women business centers across the state. And so it's been a great journey for me in helping entrepreneurs to develop, to grow, to scale, and also to have their dream realized, because access to capital is the number one issue plaguing businesses, whether you're a startup, and particularly startups, but more importantly, if you're going to scale a business, many times, especially small business, many times access to capital is the number one issue.
There you go. Okay, so folks who are just joining us, and Lenwood Long Sr, BVLAssociates.com, we have officially hit the situation paragraph. So for 5P listeners, we do everything in 5P format around here.
Love it.
Lenwood Long, military veteran, the situation, the problem, opportunity, the enemy, the need that you see out there. It's a need for capital, but it's more focused than that in the small business owners, correct?
That is so true, because when you talk about capital, many times there's a phase to look at the infrastructure, right? The infrastructure around, okay, I got the capital, so what do I do with it to improve my business? I have the capital, I have this vision, I have this dream, but sometimes there's a failure to look at marketing. Am I using the right marketing techniques? Cash flow. The gap between, you can have this great dream of a business, is perfect for you, but the day you open your doors, people will not rush to it, right? And so one of the things I found out that the question was, do you have enough capital to continue your business in the drought time, right? And so sometimes, especially startups, do not think through the optimal cash flow, cash needed to help them weather that gap between business demand and business utilization, right? I think that I have a demand for my product, but the utilization of it doesn't come at the time to allow me to have sufficient cash flow. And one of the questions I always ask startups, do you have at least 6 months of cash flow to help you in case you don't meet your numbers and your goals? So situation is I have capital, but do I have sufficient marketing strategy? Do I have sufficient finances to help me weather the unanticipated, right? Imagine yourself out on a reconnaissance patrol, right? And you have to anticipate that the enemy may jump up at any time. And so when you're doing, starting a business, you have to anticipate that the things that might happen that could derail or kill your dream. Thought I'd use that analogy.
That's a wonderful analogy. I definitely am sure that our audience appreciates it. That's wonderful. So Lenwood Long Sr, BVLAssociates.com. So tell us the mission, and it doesn't need to be the verbatim mission statement of BV&L and Associates.
Yeah, so one of the things I always like to do is and again, around this whole notion of help ministry, I take that same philosophy, that same passion to organization. And so I came up with this mission statement about how do we help organization to maximize their performance in these environmental times, right? And that can be because one of the things I like to do is grow leaders, right? And so I do a lot of time of coaching. And so my mission is centered around how do I help you to move to that next level? How do I help you as a manager of your business, as a CEO? How do I help you scale the things you're doing? And how can I help you to be more efficient in what you're doing based upon my years of experience? And I think that based upon not only years of experience, but the diversity of the experiences I've had in the nonprofit and also as a consultant in a private consulting company before I went to DC. Doing some work in the private sector. At the time, the company was Technical Resources International, and we were helping local governments with a number of program issues. So again, it was about serving, and so I see BV&L as an extension of my passion to help leaders to think through some of the complex issues they're dealing with in businesses, and strategies to deal with them, and also coaching leaders, right? And how to employ the best techniques in doing some of the things you want to do.
There it is. So now we're hitting on admin and logistics. It just flows, doesn't it? So, all right. So if folks are checking out Lenwood Long Sr. at BVLAssociates.com, if they're going with the intent of, yes, being a client, but in order to gain valuable insight at BV&L and Associates, they're going to BVLAssociates.com. When they're looking at stuff, is there any, say, homework that a potential customer client could do that would benefit them before engaging with you at BV&L and Associates?
Yeah, I think it's important to realize what it is you want to achieve, right? That is that whether it's BV&L Associate or any other company, a lot of folks like say, hey, I need help, right? But I want to make sure that I have a good handle on what is the type of help that I need. Is it in finances? Is it in management? Is it in best practices that you know of that can be transferable to my business? And see, I just don't want to hire a consultant to come in to guide me when I don't know what direction I want to go in. And so one of the things I have to do is do an internal assessment around where is really I need help, right? Because as I want to maximize my business, I also want to maximize the funds that I spend to support my business. And part of, one of the things I always say that one of the best spent dollars is in professional development, because stagnation is the worst thing that can happen. To think, and I call it stagnation and maintenance. That okay, I'm doing fine, so there's no need to look at best practices, no need to look at anything else. But in order to scale or to grow, whether it's your business or you individually as the manager or CEO, you have to understand what's happening in the world. And that is very important because sometimes we can become too comfortable where we are and we look around, everything else growing, but we are not moving, we are stagnated.
Right. Well, complacency kills, right?
Yeah. It's about like the Dead Sea. It's rich in mineral and it dies there. But the reason stuff died there, it doesn't have an outlet. So we need to have an outlet in all the stuff we do. And part of that is getting fresh ideas, fresh thought. But I think homework and assessing what it is I really need. So I have an idea of when this consultant come in, my needs are being met, right? And so don't blame it on the consultant if what I thought was being met is not being met because I really hadn't put it on paper. I really hadn't thought it through. And so you got to think through what kind of help you need. And one thing I always tell my clients is, what do you expect in the first 30 days? Right? Okay. And so, and in order to know what you expect in 30 days, you got to spend some time in thinking, and what do I really want to accomplish over the next 30 days?
Right.
Just one of my tools, one of my techniques.
Yeah, no, that's great. Okay, all right. Curveball time, folks. And listeners know that I like throwing some curveball questions here. I've got to ask, because you're talking, you got to learn, you got to have ideas. you got a bookshelf over here full of knowledge. What has been the most recent book that you've read that brought value to your life that you could bring to our audiences? What would you recommend?
Yeah, well, one of the things I'm a nonprofit person, right? And also I believe in leadership. One of the things that I think I've been gifted is helping grow leaders. And so one of the books that I've been spending some time on is this book, and it seems strange, but this book, When Leaders Lead, right? And it talks about how do you take leaders in an organization who've made invaluable contribution, but there comes a time when they step away. And so what kind of succession planning is in place? How do you give dignity to leaders who've been there over a period of time, so the succession and exit take place in a way that honors both the organization and the individual. And so that's been an amazing book to me to read. And I've been thumbing through this book by Colin Powell on leadership, right? That sit next to me because I just think his writing, his talk, his command of a spectrum of experiences he's had, just for me, has been very valuable.
Outstanding. You know, it's often not really thought about as far as leaders and their succession and how they can potentially, you don't necessarily want them to make a carbon copy of themselves, but you do want them to be able to train and leave gracefully with the reins in someone else's hands. I understand that my mother was going through that, leaving the C-suite and then helping with another chief nursing officer. How do we do this to where it's not the exact carbon copy of who that person was? You have a new leader for a reason, but they're taking the reins, knowing full well what is actually going on inside of the organization, right?
Yeah, but the more important thing is the transfer of core values, right? Because the organization have core values. I hope that's one of the things I always think, that you got to have core values, right?
Absolutely.
And if you don't transfer anything else, you want to make sure that the organization maintain those core values because they founded upon principles that have fueled the organization. And so continuity, not in programs, but continuity and core values should be always a part of that organization if it is to remain within the same thrust and mode that it was developed, right? And so for me, core values are very important.
Hugely important, absolutely. People, check out Lenwood Long Sr. Go to BVLassociates.com. Now, can people connect with you in other social medias out there? Are you accessible, say, on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. Lenwood V. Long. I'm at. I love tweeting. Sometimes I'm on Twitter at LV Long, and you can find me there. I'm not on Facebook, but I love LinkedIn. I think you have an opportunity there to make quality posts. And sometimes I have this writing streak that I get elongated. The pastoral side of me come out, and I want to share a thought of the day, a mood of the day that's around awakening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we as a people really need each other. And how do we do that in a way that encourage and edify toward this common purpose and goal, right, of this commandment that we have toward loving each other? So that's one of the things I love to do.
That's so wonderful.
I had to slip that in.
This is exactly why I wanted to have you on the show, sir. I'm serious. We share in those core values. You're an ardent patriot, and God bless you and your family.
Thank
you
you.
are fantastic. You're salt of the earth, honestly. And
Thank
folks,
you.
okay, so in closing things up here, we're just kind of wrapping up the episode here. Is there anything coming up, any events that are coming up that you want to call to action?
No, COVID-19 has I think brought us as we have on we are now into this virtual session. There's a number of virtual things happening, but in terms of interest, I cannot think of things readily in mind now. For those in the nonprofit sector, in the CDFI world, I would recommend 2 links. One is AEO, and if you just Google AEO, it'll take you to the Association of Enterprise Opportunity website. They have some upcoming events. And also OFN, that's Opportunity Finance Network. They have a finance seminar going on now. So if people are interested in the nonprofit sector, I would recommend those two links. They're a good, strong organization. One of them engaged in micro lending and have a number of programs ready, tailor-made for small businesses that need micro loans. So, yeah, and these things, I would say one final thing. In this environment, I would tell people, watch the interest rate, right? And look at the capacity to repay, given what I see as a weakening demand for services right now, depending upon what kind of service industry you're in.
Well, all right, there you go. Some words of advice, some nuggets of knowledge. Love it. Hey, folks, that's why you listen all the way through to the end of the episode, huh? Oh, so good. And for all of you who are out there who are 5P listeners, you're listening to this full episode. You can view the whole episode inside of the 5P circle. You go to 5paragraph.com.
Wow.
It starts with a book. It's free. All we ask is you pay shipping and handling, and you get 30-day free access to the 5P Inner Circle and all of our long-form interviews, nuggets, knowledge, words of wisdom from folks like Lenwood Long Sr. at BV&L Sir, it's so wonderful to have you on the show.
It's been my honor, Michael. It really has been. I love it.
Thank you.
My honor. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. People out there in radio land and watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, rate, review the podcast. We really appreciate your comments and suggestions. If you are viewing this on YouTube, click subscribe and ring that bell so that you get the notifications as each one of our wonderful interviews release. We really do appreciate all of you listeners out there in our 5P family. We are grateful for you. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And until next time, take care and be well.